it's Mo. It is July 3rd and it is time to look at all the books that I acquired in June. So every month in 2022 I am keeping track of all the books that I acquire, either by buying books or being given books, going to book sales, going to library sales, picking up at little free libraries, etc., etc. And in July I'm going over my spreadsheet, how many books I've acquired, how much money I've spent, how many books out of the books that I've acquired in 2022 have I read in 2022, and all of that fun stuff. So look forward to that. But today we are doing the books that I acquired in June. The first book that I'm going to talk about I don't actually have physically at the moment, and that is because I've already lent it out to my father, and that is Richard Osman's The Man Who Died Twice. This is the sequel to The Thursday Murder Club and the next in that series. I read The Thursday Murder Club in January and I really enjoyed it, so I was super excited to find the sequel. It was one of the last books that I found in June. I found it in the Cookman Little Free Library. I had recently given my dad a copy of The Thursday Murder Club because I thought he would enjoy it, and then he lent it to his friend who lives next door to him. When I saw him, I decided to give him the sequel so that he and his friend Marilyn could read it, because I'm not going to get to it anytime soon. And that's why I don't have the book. I don't actually know what this book is about, except that I know that it follows the Thursday Murder Club, which is a club of octogenarians living in an old folks village and solving crimes. The next book I picked up at the same time in the same little free library, and that is Double Blind by Edward St. Aubyn. Now this book is, I think, a family drama, and it spans from like New York to various other places. I have to admit, one of the main reasons that I picked it up is because it has this gorgeous cover. I also found Daisy Jones and the Six at another time in the same little free library. This is an oral history of a fictional musician and her band, and it has ties to Malibu Rising and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It's by the same author, Taylor Jenkins Reid. So The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo I read last summer and I really enjoyed, and Malibu Rising I have and want to read this summer, so I figured I would get the book that was in between them. But I don't know if I actually want to read this book. I've passed it up before at little free libraries, and this time I just figured I'd pick it up. I think I'm going to skip to Malibu Rising first, and then if I really feel like it, come back to this one, or I might just unhaul this and I could always find it again if I become more interested. On the Asbury Park townwide yard sale day, someone was giving away Asbury Park Where Music Lives, edited by Helen Chantrell Pike. This is a collection of stories and history about Asbury Park and how it is such a musical town and some of its musical history. It's very short, little nonfiction. I think this would be a fun one to add to my collection of history books about where I live. I was super excited to find Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. This is an African modern classic that I have actually been looking for, and I found this in the little free library on Ocean Ave at the boardwalk. I'm very excited to get to this one. I don't know what it's about, but I do know it's part of like an African trilogy, and I know this is a very renowned and revered African novel. I found The Island at the Center of the World, and this is a really beat up, ugly copy, and it looks like it was a college textbook used book, so I don't really know what this is about, except that it has something to do with the history of New York and I believe World War II, possibly World War I, but I had just heard someone talking about this and it sounded really interesting. It's a nonfiction, and when I saw it, I grabbed it. At a Salvation Army, I got Cat on the Edge by Shirley Russo Murphy. I'm kind of collecting a few cat cozy mysteries. That sounds right up my alley. I haven't actually read any besides the Cat Who books that I read when I was a teenager, but I thought it might be fun to maybe do a vlog where I'm reading a bunch of cat mysteries. Jennifer Egan, who is most well known for A Visit from the Goon Squad, which is like a 90s classic in the vein of Singles and some of those other 90s movies, has a new book out, which is a sequel to A Visit from the Goon Squad, and everybody's been talking about it. I think it's called something something candy. But when I saw A Visit from the Goon Squad, I was interested to pick this up. I hear it's full of 90s music and 90s references, and so that sounded like a pretty good time to me. At the Salvation Army, I found The Left Leg by Alice Tilton, and that is a pen name for Phoebe Atwood Taylor. So this is just a Golden Age mystery. I think it's Golden Age. Let me see. Yeah, this is a Golden Age mystery I've never heard of, but it had a great cover and a great name, so I grabbed it. At that same Salvation Army where I found the cat book and The Left Leg, I also found Why Shoot a Butler by Georgette Meyer. Now, I had never heard of Georgette Meyer, but apparently she does cozy mysteries and romances, and I just saw maybe Aaron Facer read something by her as well, which I thought was really interesting because I had never heard of her before, but then I picked up a book and I saw a BookTube friend read something, so I'm more excited to get to this one. It definitely seems like a reissue of an older cozy mystery. This one was written in 1933, so Golden Age, right in the middle. Sounds right up my street. Someone must have been getting rid of their entire cozy mystery library because I also found The Franchise Affair by Josephine Tey. I have never read any Josephine Tey, but I've recently picked up a couple of her books because my mom likes them, and she said that I would like them if I like Christie. So here's another one that I could try. At that same Salvation Army, I also picked up The Best Short Stories by Black Writers, and this is edited and introduced by Langston Hughes. So this one is also a really beat up, water damaged copy, and it was compiled in 1967. So this kind of goes with the theme of short story books that I've been collecting, but also kind of with the Black authors and Black essays that I've been collecting. So I think this one is a good one to add to my collection. The first year that I was on BookTube in 2020, I read The Borrowers by Mary Norton. I had read this when I was a child, and I always remember really, really loving it, so I wanted to revisit it. That I bought a used copy online, and it was in perfect condition, and since then I've found a couple of other of the Borrowers series, most recently The Borrowers Avenged. I don't know how many books are in these series, but they all follow the same family of very tiny people who live in your house or in your garden and borrow things from you. Another strange nonfiction that I recently picked up, very short and easy to read, is A Concise History of the Hawaiian Islands by Dr. Phil Barnes. This does just what it says on the tins, I think, and is a concise history of the Hawaiian Islands. It seemed like a fun, quick read that I could learn more about the history of the 50th United States. I found Raymond Chandler's The Lady in the Lake. I really love noir books, and I've read a couple of one or more of Raymond Chandler's books, so I was happy to find this one. I also found American Lightning by Howard Bloom. This is terror mystery in the birth of Hollywood and the crime of the century. This is a narrative nonfiction, and I most recently heard a Book Olive talk about Howard Bloom and how much she enjoyed his writing style, so I wanted to give him a try. And lastly, another Josephine Tey book that I found called Miss Pym Disposes. So I don't exactly know what this is about, but I'm going to add it to my Golden Age Mysteries collection, and hopefully I'll get to some of these soon. I also had one more picture book that I picked up. It was called Catwise, and it was about cats. I don't have it here with me, but those were the 17 books that I acquired in June, much less than in May, and much less than in April. Look forward to hearing all about all the books I've acquired in the first 6 months of the year coming to the channel soon. Let me know if I should prioritize any of the books that you saw here. Let me know if you've read any of these books or which ones you would most want to read. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye.